This case is completely different from any other case I've ever had.
I mean, I think nothing will compare to the Alex Jones case.
Everything was unusual, right? I mean, nothing in this case went the way that any case is supposed to go.
It's not like any case I've ever had before, and I'm sure not like anyone I'll ever have again.
The only place where, an individual citizen or a group of citizens can come and demand justice and be treated as equals is the courtroom. And that's what happened here.
I mean, obviously everybody knows about the Sandy Hook school shooting, probably the largest tragedies in our history as Americans.
Sandy Hook is a very small part of a very small town in Connecticut, and on December 14th, 2012, shortly after school had started, a shooter shot his way into the school, murdered the school counselor and the school principal, and then entered 2 classrooms and murdered an additional 4 adults and 20 children.
Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist, steps in and takes that school shooting not as the tragedy that everyone else in America has taken it, but took it as an opportunity. And that's really the evilness of that man.
Less than 2.5 hours after the shooting, Alex Jones is immediately at it, calling it a government inside job. So what he was telling his audience already, before there was a shred of evidence of what was going on, was that this was a government hoax staged so that there could be a pretext to take people's guns.
It reached people and persuaded them that it was okay to then, in their own right, harass these families.
Scarlett and Neil, just, I don't know, two of the best humans you could meet. I would have really liked to have known them before this happened, because I see how good of people that they are now, but at the same time, very attuned and well aware of what they've been through.
Neil and Scarlett lost their son Jesse at Sandy Hook. Jesse has an amazing story. When Lanzett was in there shooting, Jesse ran, opened the door, and yelled at kids to get out, and then was ultimately killed right there. But he saved 9 kids, which is this sort of amazing, heroic story. Every time Alex Jones would go do this stuff and put these stories out there, they would get tormented. And there's stories of their houses being shot up, their cars being shot up.
And at some point he needed to do something. They needed to do something. And I think that's kind of where we came into play.
We were, I guess, the week before trial, and I don't know really what happened or how it happened, but the defendants sent us this link, and it had a ton of data on it.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up? They sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then...
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
Interaction with him on the cell phone records. I mean, it's probably going to be one of the most famous cross-examinations in history, more or less, of the last year.
My partner Wes was going to put on Scarlett on the stand, and he'd been working with her for a long time. I mean, he spent days and days and days.
And so Scarlett got on the stand in the morning and was pretty nervous, you could tell.
I think we took, I don't know if it was a break or lunch, but when we came back, Alex Jones was there, and it just changed everything with Scarlett.
Having a 6-year-old son shot in the forehead in his 1st grade classroom is unbearable. Unbearable. You don't think you're going to survive.
Scarlett started looking directly at him and started speaking to him, and the testimony went from a narration to a conversation.
To have someone on top of that perpetuate a lie, that it was a hoax, that it didn't happen, that it was a false flag, that I'm an actress. Then you get on and you say, oh, sorry, but I know actresses when I see them. Do you think I'm an actress?
No, I don't think you're an
No,
actress.
you can't talk right now.
Sorry.
I don't know that I'm ever going to have a better moment of testimony and trial, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe that's the peak, and that's okay if it is. And then when the jury came back and delivered the punitive verdict, it was a solid affirmation of what we had done, of what we had tried to work for, and for the family.
Lafferty versus Jones is a case brought by 15 plaintiffs, 14 family members of people who died in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, and 1 first responder to that shooting. And it's a case brought against Alex Jones and his companies for the lies he told about the shooting and specifically about them. One of the things that we felt was really important in this case was to show that Alex Jones isn't just a guy with a microphone. He is a guy with a business that is designed to further his reach.
His audience grew by about 50% from what we can tell after Sandy Hook. So this was a story he couldn't quit. It was too profitable.
What we wanted to do was create an atmosphere in the courtroom where Alex Jones revealed himself to the jury, revealed who he really was, kind of the rot at the core of who he is. And so we did that by forcing him to really reckon with the fact that the people he had been lying about for 10 years were actual people sitting in the courtroom just 20 feet from him.
Robert Parker's sitting right here. He's real, isn't he?
Yes?
And for years, you put a target on his back, didn't you? Just like you did every single parent and loved one sitting here, didn't you?
I legitimately thought it might have been staged, and I stand by that, and I don't apologize for it.
Alex Jones went on air while the case was pending and threatened my law partner, Chris Maddie, said he wanted to put his head on a pike and offered $1 million bounty.
It was outrageous, and it was criminal. And of course, if Alex Jones puts a bounty on a specific individual's head, it exposes that individual to great risk.
On the whole, I thought that it was a moment where Alex Jones really revealed just how nervous he was about this litigation. And it was good to see that.
The thing that will stand out always for me in my career, the moment in this case, is I was sitting between Josh and Chris, and the verdict was coming back.
It was all three of us, had a very emotional reaction to it.
Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Robert Parker and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems at line A and line B, total $120 million, initialed by juror number 1.
The families, after all they went through, had finally gotten back at this bully.
In our country, courts really are the last refuge for people who have nowhere else to turn.
The fact that it was so heavily covered in the news further supported this idea that the truth is now being out there, that Sandy Hook is real, and now the world knows it.
I think this is a perfect example of the system working the way it was designed to work.
Listen, I think kind of the theme of it during trial remains today, which is speech is free, but lies you pay for.
And I'm so pleased that our work for these families has gained this kind of recognition.
My first thought was, this is really a recognition of the bravery of the families. Because that's the only reason we had a case to begin with.